All right, hello everybody, welcome back. We're continuing again this week, just trying to talk about things I've been enjoying so far this week. As I kind of teased in the last episode, this week I'm mostly going to talk about this device here that I've been living with for about a little over a week now, the new iPad Air. This is the 2024 edition. The one I'm using is the 11-inch model. I just went with basically the base model. So it's the 11-inch iPad Air with only 128 gigs of storage on it, which I think is an increase from last year. Last year, the base came with only 64 gigabytes. And it's just Wi Fi only. So I didn't get the version with wireless data. I thought about it. I thought maybe I would get one of those, but I don't really want to pay for more data, and I kind of feel like most of the places I go, there's some kind of Wi-Fi access anyway. So if I want to use it on the go, there's probably some Wi-Fi that I can use. So I got the version that's purple. If you can kind of tell from this video, I know a lot of people say it's kind of hard to show up in pictures or video. I can kind of tell by looking at it in person, but it is, again, a very kind of muted color. A lot of the iPad Air colors this year were a bit more muted, which honestly, the more I live with it, the more I've been enjoying it. And, it comes in four colors: this purple, I think like a sort of a softer blue, and then kind of like the typical colors you always have. I think the starlight and the space gray. I could be wrong, but feel free to correct me if I am. But after seeing them, I kind of like the purple the most, so I went with that. As well as using the new Apple Pencil Pro. So kind of right there, which you can't really see because it's trying to lock on me, the camera. But it's the new Pencil Pro, which supports the Find My network. So of course, if you lose it, it's easy to find. You can hopefully track it, and nobody's made off with it. It just hooks magnetically onto the tablet, and it charges wirely. And so, yeah, I've been using these for a little over a week. As far as pricing goes, again, I live in China, so the pricing, I'll give you the Chinese pricing. You can look up the pricing in your country online, but the iPad Air, this starts at 4,799 RMB for the base model, and then of course the Apple Pencil Pro is 999 RMB. I did save about 500 on my purchase because I'm an educator, so of course I did benefit from the educator discount. And so yeah, if you're a student or a teacher, you might investigate. There might be some savings again if you're buying for well, if you're a student or teacher and you're buying. The one thing that I got that wasn't made by Apple, but we'll go ahead and talk about it. The keyboard case. Now, this is the keyboard case that I'm using. Okay. It's just a Bluetooth keyboard, but the iPad can still hook onto it magnetically. It's very much inspired by the case that Apple makes, but it was much, much cheaper. In China, the iPad case that Apple makes is 2,399 RMB if you get the one for the 11-inch, which is pretty hefty. This one I found online was only 300 RMB. So thinking about it, I didn't really want to spend that much on the case, so I did cheap out a little bit on the case. But well, to start first with the case works fine. It connects via Bluetooth. Typing is okay. I don't really have too much lag at all when I'm typing on it, and so that works really well. Probably the only big drawbacks with it would be that the case does smudge a bit when you touch it. It does pick up a lot of fingerprints, and it is heavier. When you put the iPad into this one, you can feel that weight when you pick it up, versus if you go into the Apple store and you try picking up the iPad Air, in the Apple made case, of course, that's a much lighter. But again, I don't mind. I wasn't about to spend the extra cost uh, just to get that little bit of extra value or that extra lightness. It wasn't worth that much to me because a lot of times when I'm at home, I don't need the keyboard case attached. I just remove it from the case anyway. So, that works fine for me. Okay, so moving on a little bit, just to talk about the iPad itself. Um, and again, if you're paying attention, yes, the voice might sound different because I forgot to turn my microphone on before. So, but hey, if you want a comparison of what the inboard camera of the DJI Pocket 3 sounds like versus the DJI mic, this is your point of comparison because right now I have the external microphone on. As far as what do I like about this iPad? I I think for me, this is kind of the year when the iPad kind of clicked for me. Like I got an iPad originally, like when they first came out years and years ago, and I kind of enjoyed it. I hadn't really used an iPad much since then. We did have like an iPad fifth generation around here that we got several years ago, but to be honest, I didn't use it too much. That only came with 32 gigs of starting memory. So think about how far we've come now. This comes with 128 gigs of starting memory. But again, I have my phone, I have my computer. I didn't really feel the need for a tablet. Uh, but when the new iPad Air came out, I was kind of like, that seems pretty good. And with the extra memory, I kind of found myself wanting one. And so, just what do I like about it? I mean, I love the 11-inch model because, like I say, most of the time at home, I'm not really using it attached to the case. I will sometimes if I want to do some longer form writing, but a lot of the time I'm just wanting to read a book or watch some video, maybe on YouTube or Disney or HBO or whatever. And the 11-inch version feels perfect in the hand for that. You can get a 13-inch model version, um, but I feel like, if you're just sitting in your chair or lying in your bed trying to watch some video, I think 11 inches is fine. It's very comfortable to hold in the hand. It doesn't feel too heavy. It doesn't feel too cumbersome, and I'm really enjoying that. Like I say again, I'm going to say the fact that the memory is increased this year to 128 gigs for the starting model, I think is really a good selling point. Before, I think it started at 64, and then you had to pay for more memory. Again, I don't want to pay for a lot of upgrades in my tablet. I just sort of want a tablet that can do what it can do, and that I feel like I'm not going to run out of memory inside of a day. And I think this one checks those boxes for me. The screen itself is fantastic. It's certainly not as good as what you're going to get with the iPad Pro, which has those tandem OLED displays. I saw those in the store. Of course, those displays look very, very good, but of course, they come at a price. Again, I don't want to spend more on my tablet than I do on my computer. So this one just kind of fits at the price point that I want for it. And I think, yeah, the display, even though it doesn't have the ProMotion, even though it is not that nice crisp OLED, it's still a great display, and I enjoy watching videos on this, so that's great. Um, the Apple Pencil Pro, yeah, I am enjoying it. I don't use it as much as I thought I would. Of course, I'm not like a drawer. I don't do a lot of digital art or things like that. I might try to eventually use this in something like Lightroom to try to do some light edits. We'll see. I've mostly tried to do some writing in some of my apps, like some of my note-taking apps that support the Apple Pencil. And I would have to say in those apps, I'm pretty impressed by how well it writes. It does, look a lot like what my handwriting normally looks like on paper, and that works out pretty well. Okay, so those are basically all the things that I'm really enjoying about the iPad Air. Um, and again, I started by saying it kind of clicked for me this year. because I was one of those, like, way back in the day, I used like a Microsoft Windows Surface Pro. And, that was the computer that you could attach the keyboard to or detach the keyboard and use it as a tablet, use it with the Surface Pen. I enjoyed that at the time. Although, in some regards, it never really clicked to me as a tablet. Like, I always used it as a computer. Again, Windows, they don't have as many apps on their app store, and it kind of felt like mostly you were going to use that as a computer. Whereas, with something like iPad, of course, that has many more apps available on the App Store, and I kind of feel like it makes more sense to get something like this that I know is a tablet that I'm going to use primarily as a tablet. But if I want to, I can attach a keyboard to use just for some light computing tasks. Like if I want to type a Word document or type an email, it's capable of doing that. Which is why, when I watch a lot of reviews on the iPad Air or even the iPad Pro, because a lot more of them are on the iPad Pro, um, they're always asking this question, can it replace your computer? And they're always sort of, I think, looking at it more from this side of the professional. You know, if I just want to make this my main computer and I'm an office worker at like a Fortune 500 company, or if I'm a professional designer, can this do everything that I need to? And they really push it to the limit, and they find kind of the edge cases where, okay, it can't do this, you still need a computer to do that. I kind of think it's an interesting question to look at it from the other way, though, too. What if you're just using it for very light computing tasks? Like, what if you are somebody who just tends to use a MacBook Air? I think in that case, there's a lot of argument to be made just to get an iPad Air. Um, I really feel like this could probably do most of the things that I would need it to do. Like I said earlier, I am an educator, so I need to make some PowerPoints, I need to make some Word documents, I need to do some research online. I think this is very capable of doing all of those things. Um, Maybe the only thing that it can't do that I will still use my MacBook for is playing World of Warcraft, but it can't. That's my edge case. I still need my MacBook to play World of Warcraft and to play my games. But even in terms of games, this is running the M2 chip, a 9-core M2 chip. It's still surprisingly capable at playing games. I was looking through the App Store the other day, and I saw you could get Divinity Original Sin 2 on this, which I think is quite impressive because that's not a very old game. It is a little bit more demanding, and the fact that you could run this on here, I think is quite impressive. And we see more and more games like that coming out. Not to say that I would get this as a gaming device, but I just find it kind of impressive the kinds of things that you can run on this. Um, Not to say, that it's all perfect. Again, I would say probably the biggest disadvantage is the keyboard case because I went with the cheaper version. I'd imagine if you have the money to spend, probably go ahead and get the version made by Apple. You'll probably enjoy that a bit more. Um, but if you're looking to save some money, I would say just go with like a third party case. The the pencil is really impressive, and they put a lot of technology into the pencil, so you kind of feel like you'd be missing out if you didn't get the Pencil Pro. But the keyboard case itself, I think that's probably the area where, like, if you're looking to save something on, you could probably just get a third party keyboard case and you'd be fine with it. Um, so, yeah, that's basically what I've been enjoying this week. Like I said, I've been using the iPad Air almost exclusively. I've gone on my actual computer very little. And, I've kind of been impressed because I haven't really felt like I've been missing anything that week. You know, Aside from playing World of Warcraft, this can do basically everything that I want to do. And so I'm very happy with this. I'm enjoying it. I'm going to keep using it. And don't consider this a full-fledged review or anything. It's just me trying to inject some positivity out there, trying to share with you something that I've been liking this week. And so this week, yeah, iPad Air. Who'd have thunk it? All right, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Uh, See y'all later. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe and leave a comment below. All right, bye bye, everybody.